Hello people! In this tutorial I'm going to teach you how to draw this elevation of a building. For that we are going to use this floor plan, and the elevation itself is the view from this side. Now, the method I'm going to show you here consists in drawing guidelines where I need to place windows, doors and wall limits in the elevation drawing. For example, this window here, I just need to follow this guideline and then easily I know where I have to draw it. So, let's start. For drawing the guidelines, you can still use the command line, or there is also a tool which is not frequently used, called construction lines. Just go to the Drawing tab, click in this arrow, and you can find the command here. Click on it, and the first line I have to draw is exactly where I have to place the wall limit at the left. It's this endpoint. Then draw a vertical line. I click and press escape. But before continuing, I want these construction lines in a separate layer. I just have to go to the layer properties. I have it already opened here. If not, you can always click in the layer icon above. To add a new layer, I can click in this window with the right button of the mouse, go to New Layer, type for the name, for example, Guidelines, and I will change also the color to one I can easily differentiate from the drawing, for example, this red one. Now, in the workspace, the first thing, I click in this line, then go to the Layers tab and put it in the Guidelines layer. To draw the remaining lines, I will use the command Offset to do this process quickly. I type O and press Enter. Offset is active. Then, in Specify Offset Distance, I type through, I press Enter, and with this option I select the line, and then I'm going to place the new parallel line in the point I click. For example, here. Then I keep drawing lines in all the places that I have windows and doors. I select the previous line, but this time, instead of clicking right now, I type M for multiple, press Enter, and now I can click in all the places that I want. Let's go forward. I need one in this wall, then in the door, and I'm going to fast forward until the end. I think it will be easy for you to do this. I finish everything, and as I zoom out, you can see that the construction lines continue infinitely. Ah, and there is also this door that I forgot to draw previously. Now I can start drawing the elevation. And the first thing that we will do is drawing this line that indicates the ground floor. I'm going to use the command line to draw a horizontal line here to cover all the floor plan. After, I'm going to use the command trim. I press Enter. I select the horizontal line and all the guidelines. Press Enter again, and I'm going to delete the sections out of the floor plan. Here this section, and also this one at the beginning. Press Enter. Now I'm going to draw the elevation of these walls using the dimension lines I have here. And I start with this one, 2.4 meters. It's very simple. With the command line, I go to this endpoint, click on it, and draw a vertical line with length 2.4. Then just press Escape to continue drawing. This time I draw these lines with the lengths that you can see there. So just have to find the proper guideline, this one, and draw all the lines with its lengths. The first is 0.9, then 1.8, 1.8 again, and the last 1.5. Next thing, I draw this line, which is the right extremity of this front wall. But I have to change this dimension line to measure just from this line until the roof. And then the height of the wall will be the combination of these lengths. Going back to the drawing, the guideline that we need is this one. So I will have to follow it, and here I will draw the wall. I activate the command line and draw 4 vertical lines with the distances I showed you before: 0.9, 2.8, 2.8 again, and finally 0.2. Then I have to draw the lines at the top. I'm going to start with this one, and then I can draw the both remaining ones. So here you have. Then I just draw a vertical line downwards and just connect with the one at the right I have drawn before. Finally, just click in this line, then at this extremity at the bottom, and connect to the intersection. So, now the other lines that make the outline of the walls, these ones, you can draw easily by yourself just using the dimension lines. So, after this, I can start drawing the elevation of the roof, and I'm going to start with this small detail in the right part of the building. Simple. You just have to follow these dimensions of these lines. I'm going to activate the command line, go to this endpoint, and make a line of 0.08 meters. Then another of 0.02, and this vertical one of 0.03 meters of length. As you may notice, I'm drawing these lines using the grid and the snap modes. After, I have to draw this arc of radius 0.02. I'm going to click in the icon arc, but not exactly in the icon, in this arrow below. Here, I choose the way I want to draw the arc. For example, I want to enter the start point first, the center, and finally the end point. Also, if you look to the arrow here, you can see the direction of drawing is anti-clockwise. I click here for the start point, then the center, and finally the end point. Then, the remaining lines you can draw by yourself. Now, I want to copy these lines to the other side of the roof. For that, I'm going to use the command mirror, select the lines I drawn, press enter, then click in the endpoint of this horizontal line to draw a vertical mirror line, so I can copy symmetrically the objects to the other side. I click and then choose No to keep the original objects. Here they are. Now I can proceed to draw the roof. Oh, I forgot to draw this line, but it's okay, I can draw it just now. type L to activate a command line and draw it here. Now, to draw the roof section, I know that it makes an angle of 30 degrees with the x-axis. So, I'm going to use the command line, go to the endpoint here, and I'm going to draw a line until more than the half. I press Tab to switch to the angle setting, and I will type 150 degrees in order to have the angle here 30. I press Enter and hit Escape. Then I do the same on the other side. Type L to activate line. But first, draw this vertical line that I forgot before, 0.12. And then I continue. Press Tab to switch to the angle. And this time I have to type 30. Press Escape. And okay, I have to extend the line. Click on it. Go to this extremity. Click and extend it. And make sure this label extension is here. Now I can click. I press Escape and I can use the command Trim to delete the parts that I don't need. Select everything. Press Enter. Click in this section and then here. So the first outline is completed. Then, to draw the second diagonal line, I will need to draw first this part, which the length of these lines is 0.08 meters. Then I can use, for example, the command Offset. I type O, press Enter. In Specify Offset Distance, I choose Through. Now I select the line, and I'm going to click in this endpoint here. Okay, so I just need to press Escape. I can use the command Trim, for example. Select this part, press Enter, and delete the line. On the left side, I could use Mirror to copy the lines that I didn't draw, or I can still draw them quickly. As I'm using the grid and snap modes, I can draw them quite simple. Then the diagonal line. Another option is to select it, click in the endpoint, and extend it until this intersection. Now the elevation of this roof is finished. Part number 2. So, let's go back to our drawing. I'm going to use the command Copy, CO, press Enter, select everything, and also these lines that were not selected. So I press Enter at the end, and then to specify the base point, I'm going to click here. Of course, this vertical line, it was selected accidentally, but it's not a problem, I can delete it after. I place it here. Press Escape, and then select this line and press Delete. Now, I want to show you a characteristic when I draw overlapped lines. If I drag the mouse over this horizontal line, I can see these two squares one over the other, it means there are overlapped objects. I'm going to click, and this window shows me I have two lines overlapped, and this allows me to choose the one I wish. By the way, this is a status bar tool called selection cycling, so I need to have this icon active. Let's switch it off to see the difference. I'm going to click again in the line. It's selected, but maybe it's not the objects that I would like. So I prefer to use most of the time the selection cycling. Let's switch it on again. Click again on the line. Then I click in the second line, which is a bit shorter than the first one. It ends in this intersection. But if now I look to our drawing, there is this detail here, which is a bit different from the roof on the other side. Let's go to our drawing. First, we are going to create a line, the command line, press enter, go to the intersection, this endpoint. Then I go here, drag to the right. Okay, sometimes the line disappears. Do it again. And the dashed line disappeared again. Because it happens that I have the object snap mode nearest turned on. It's represented by this icon. And what it does is snapping the next point to the closest object, which in this case is a construction line in red. The problem is that acts as a priority and the other snap modes don't appear. So I click in the arrow next to the object snap and untick the mode nearest. This time is going to be easier. Haha! Now I can find the intersection. Then draw another line until here. Then I can connect the remaining lines. Okay, so it's done. And now to copy this to the other side, I can use the command mirror. I type mi, press enter, select these lines, press enter again, and then find the midpoint of this line, click on it, and the objects will be copied symmetrically to the other side. Press enter and choose no to keep the original objects. Okay, so this roof is done. Let's continue with the main roof. And the first thing I'm going to do is to connect this intersection to this another in the other side. With the command line, I'm going to draw a line between both corners. Very simple, but it's important that you see this polar mode tracking. Next section. In this projection, I can see all these lines here, and I'm going to draw them using the corners of this detail. First, I'm going to make them until the other end of the roof. I draw lines until this construction line here. I activate the command line, go to this endpoint, and draw a horizontal line until the intersection to this construction line. Then I can do the same for all the others, or use the command offset. And as you may know how to do this, I'll fast forward this part. Once I finish, I have to increase this line. Click on it. If I have the selection cycling turned on, I select line and extend it until there. For the part below, I select the lines I just created and copy them to this place. Activate Command Copy. Select these 4 lines, keeping the line below unselected. Press Enter them, and for the base point, I choose this one here, because this line is already there. I can simply move, as you see, and copy these lines to this end point. You can see how they look like. Now, I only have to get rid of the sections that are beyond this vertical line. I'm going to use the command Trim, select only these lines, including the vertical one, press Enter, and click in these sections to erase them. Now it remains the roof on the left of the building. This projection is almost the same as in the other parts, except this angle here, which is smaller. So I'm going to skip this part, as now you are able to draw this by yourself. Let's draw this detail at the top, and you will need these measurements provided here. First, I'm going to draw a line at a distance of 4.1 . Press Enter. Draw it vertically until here. Press Escape. Then another at 0.15, and I can use the command Offset. The distance I type 0.15, then again, and this time I type 2.5. Click in the one I just created, and this time again 0.15, and click. Then I'm going to use the command Trim to delete all this part. Select everything around here. This was not necessary, but it's okay. I have to erase in 2 times. Now, I forgot these parts, but I can reactivate the command Trim. Select all again and click in the lines to delete. Then I need this line of 0.57 meters. That means I need to increase this one to that distance. Click on this point. Then I have to press Tab 3 times, and with this, the value I enter with the keyboard is the total distance. I type 0.57. Then I go to the other side and do the same with this line. I click here, move the pointer towards the end of the last line, drag to the right slowly to find here this intersection. By clicking now, I increase this line to 0.57 meters. Now I will make this little detail here. It consists in lines and in one arc. And here you can see the dimensions. Returning to our plan, I start drawing a line from this endpoint until the left. Its length will be 0.4. The next one will be a vertical one, and when I see the polar tracking, I type 0.15. Then press Escape. And now I'm going back to the model, and I realized I forgot to draw this line. And this means I have to draw it now, but it's not a problem again. You can see here that it's missing. Again, I type L, press Enter, and draw a line until the construction line located in this side. Okay, I'm back to this part. I have to draw an arc there. I click in the icon arc and I choose the option Start, Center, End. Before drawing, it's important to know that the arcs are drawn anti-clockwise. So for the first point, I click in this endpoint. But of course, first you need to draw a line here of 0.1 meters. Click for the first point. Then the center, I need to move this endpoint, scroll down until I find this intersection here. This is the center, and then the endpoint is this one. The next step, I have to copy the objects I created symmetrically to the other part. For this, I'm going to use the command mirror. First, I'm going to draw a line between these corners. And I can place the mirror line in its midpoint. To use mirror command, I type MI, select these three objects, press Enter. Now, with the midpoint of this line, I draw a vertical mirror line, and you can see these new objects being placed there. Click, and then to keep the original objects, I click in No here. To draw this front arc, I'm going to use this dimension here of 1.1. I go back to the exercise, and from the midpoint, draw a line with that measurement, press Escape, again with the command arc, but this time instead, I'm going to choose the option 3 point. With this, I can draw an arc using 3 points. First point, I click in this endpoint. This is my second point, and this last one, the third point. For the second arc, I'm going to extend this line in the distance of 0.15. For that, I could type directly 0.15, or to specify a new total length of the line, I press Tab 3 times to edit the total length here. I'm going to type 1.25, the total length. Press Enter, and here you have it. So, again with the command arc, and it's recommendable to select always the option that we want, in this case 3 point. I go to this endpoint, drag up to find this intersection, click for the first point, This is the second point, and the third point I'm going to do the same. Hove this endpoint, go slowly again until this intersection. Okay, the arc is finally done. Then I just need to get rid of these extra lines here. And I'm sure you know how to do it. Part 3. So, let's start drawing the windows. I start with the command rectangle, this one. Then select a base point. Then I type the horizontal length, press tab and type the vertical distance. Press enter to place the rectangle.
Now I'm in front of the microphone.
After doing this, with the command offset, I insert an inner rectangle with an offset distance of 5 cm, 0.05 meters. I select the object and click again anywhere inside the rectangle. I press enter or escape to leave the command. It's done, as you see. Now let's draw the 4 smaller rectangles which represent the window glazing. This time I draw a little line at 5 cm from this corner. For that I drag to the right horizontally, type the extension of 0.05, then draw a vertical line, better switch to ortho mode, and type 0.05 again. With rectangle again, draw one with the length of 50 cm in the direction of the x-axis, press tab, and 45 cm on the y-axis. Now, on the next step, I'm going to use the command mirror to quickly draw the remaining glazing. I select the rectangle, press enter, click on the middle of this line, it's the midpoint, and draw a vertical mirror line here. Then choose no to not erase the objects. Press enter to reactivate the previous command, select both rectangles, and this time the mirror line will be from the middle of the vertical line. It was very simple. Finally, we need 2 more lines in the middle, but first let's draw a vertical one exactly from the midpoint. Then, with offset, type the alias O, type the offset distance 2.5 cm, select the line, click at the right, and then select it again and click on the left. Finally, you can erase the line in the middle, and I have the gap of 5 cm between both lines. Don't forget also to delete this little line, it was just for support. The window is not completed. I need a vertical line here of 5 cm. Then I'm going to copy it to the other side. But look, it's not exactly on the right place. Be careful. We have to repeat this process again. Delete the line, and I'm going to use copy again. Select the object, and then carefully click on the base point, and then click on the other side, and on the other side you can zoom to be sure you click on the right place. Now, after drawing the window itself, there is a frame below and over it. I will show you a quick way to draw this. With the command rectangle, go to this endpoint, move to the left without clicking, and place the first corner at 0.15 from that endpoint. Then type the length 1.65 meters, press tab, and type the width -0.15. as it will be in the negative direction on the y-axis. For the top frame, use copy, select the rectangle, then I hover this intersection, move down slowly and click on this point exactly below. Then copy the frame to the point above in order to be in the right position. But this frame is a bit wider than the one below. It has 20 centimeters of thickness. You click on it, then if you click on the grip at the middle, I can extend the width 0.05 meters. Finally, I can check if it's correct with the command distance. Here you have. Now, I want to convert a window to a block, but this time we want a window in two different colors. How can we do this? Well, there is a very practical way to do this process. First, we put the objects on the layer 0. Then, select both frames and change the color to by block. You will understand what that means after. Now, to create a block, I type B or click in the icon in the block panel above. At the block definition window, I insert first the name of the block here. Then I click here to select the objects. Click on OK and choose the base point, this corner. Now the block is done, and it went to the layer walls because it was selected as the current layer at the time I created the block. However, if I change the block layer to a different one, you can see that it gets the properties of the layer I moved to. But if I change the color of the block here, you will notice that only the former objects that had the parameter by block changed. The remaining objects of the window were in by layer. They keep the layer color. In this case, the layer walls in white. On the next section, insert the windows in the drawing. First, we need to draw these horizontal lines across the entire elevation. They indicate the right position of the window. To draw the first line, I hover this endpoint, move up and type the distance of 0.75. Then connect the line until the other side. Here. Then I draw another horizontal line at a height of 3.55 from the bottom. And a third one at 6.75 to place the windows of the second floor. Now, with the command offset, I put a second line at 0.15 meters, which is the height of the window bottom frame. Click on this line, move up and click again, and repeat the process for the other two. OK. Now, move the lines to the layer tilts. Select them all, click on this tab, and select tilts. Then, I'm going to the window that I already have it on the workspace. I'm going to copy it. I select this base point, and then I go to the floor plan and place it on this intersection. Do the same for the first floor and second floor. It's very easy, as you can see. To place the remaining windows, we need to be sure that the construction lines are in the correct place. So I'm going to use copy, I select the windows, click on this intersection, and then move horizontally until you reach the next construction line, this one. Then keep inserting the windows using the floor plan to help following the construction lines. It's simple. But to be easier, let's move the floor plan a bit up. I select everything, use any base point, it can be this one, then just move vertically, but make sure this table extension is on the screen. And don't forget to zoom in the workspace to make sure you click on the correct object snap point. So you can finish placing the windows without problems. You only need to take into consideration that these smaller windows have a different size. So leave that place empty for the moment. Once I reach the end, I can delete these two windows that are not necessary anymore. Next step, the windows at the staircase are not at the same height as the others. So instead of deleting them, I can first move them to the bottom of the drawing, select both. I click in this base point, for example, and put it on the bottom of the floor plan. Then press Enter to use Move command again, and select here Block Reference. Select both windows and place them with the new height of 2.1 meters. Delete that window that I don't need, and now you can see that the window above is also correct, because the vertical distance between windows is the same. Now, looking at the floor plan, there are two windows here of 0.9 meters of length. I can draw them from scratch or use the existing window and modify it. I will show you this second way as it's going to be quicker. So, here you have both windows with their lengths of the frame. I'm going to use copy. I'm going to copy the first window. Use copy. I select it and copy to this side. Then I'm going to use the command explode because it's a block reference. I click on it, press Enter, and now these objects are lines and polylines, as you can see. Then, to convert this in the second window, I have to use the command stretch. The alias is S. Press Enter. Select the objects to stretch, and I open the selection area just until here, because I don't want to modify the left side of the window. Press Enter and click on this corner for the base point. Then I stretch the window horizontally to the left. Now I have to insert a length of 0.45 because it's the difference between 1.65 and 1.2. So the size of the borders are correct. Then I'm going to select these objects and press Delete to erase them. Next step, I'm going to draw a vertical line at 0.05 meters from the corner and intersect it at the bottom. OK, now I select both rectangles, and using the grips I can stretch them to that line, like this. At the end, I press Escape now, I just need to click on that line and erase it. So the window of 0.9 meters of length is done. So, like before, the frames have the color defined as by block, as you can see if I select them. And the remaining objects are defined as by layer. And this happens because it's a modification of the original window. Now let's convert these objects to a block. I type B and press Enter. Insert the block name. Then I'm going to select the objects, press Enter, then I click on OK and finally specify the base point. So the window is now on the layer walls, and let's change its color to this one to match the windows of the other rooms. Going to the floor plan, I can see a construction line here, but not at the position of the left window. Let's move one there. First, I need to unlock the layer guidelines in this icon. After, with the command move, I select the line, then click in any point, this midpoint for example. Then I click in the start of the window, and maybe now you are noticing that I move the cursor a bit up. However, that's not important because the construction lines have infinite length. This is important to remember. Lock the layer guidelines again. And finally, I'm going to copy the window to the elevation. Select it, and now make sure you choose the start of the window as the base point and not the frame. Following the guidelines, slowly I can click it in the right intersection. Now I just need to do the same for the window at this side. Slowly. Now I'm going to zoom and click there. If you noticed, I was with the ortho mode turned on. And even it looked a bit confusing. It's okay since you click on the correct object snap point.
Final part, the part 4.
Okay, we have all the windows, and now it's the doors time. They are just 2 in the elevation, and they are the same, so it's easy. But it's important that when you draw an elevation on your project, that the distances match with the floor plan. For example, I can measure the length of this door with the command distance. And this is the final drawing, don't forget it. You see, it's 1.5. Then you go to the floor plan to check if the value matches. Use the command again, then click on both sides, and you see it's 1.5, so it's correct and I can proceed. Now at the left we have the elevation of the door, which is the same for both doors in the drawing. Let's make this with very little steps. You can pause the video if you want, try to think in a way with the less steps possible and try it on your computer. There are loads of ways if you imagine, so let's do it just one. I'm going to draw a rectangle and the dimensions will be 1.5 and 2.27. So the first is the x-axis, 1.5, press tab, and then 2.27. It's very simple. Then I'm going to use the command offset to put the 2 rectangles inside. Click in the command, and then for the offset distance I use 0.05 meters. Then just select the first rectangle, click inside, and do the same, repeat the process, and now I had 2. But of course, it's not exactly what I want because I have this part in the middle. I can draw a line from the midpoints of the second rectangle. I click in this one and then drag to the other side. After this, I use offset again, specify the same distance as before, the 0.05, and then put a parallel line in each side. Finally, with the command trim, erase the lines that I don't need. Select all the objects, press enter, then I go to this side and delete all those ones to reach the final drawing that I want. Now the door is completed. Ah, no, it isn't. I forgot this little line here. I double click on it and I can see on the properties that it measures 0.03. So let's draw it with the command line. Move this endpoint, drag down, type 0.03, and then draw another horizontal line until this intersection, then connect to the endpoint. This time, yes, it's done. Then, to convert this to a block, one different way is selecting the objects and type B and press enter. As you see, the blocks are already selected in the block definition window. So first, like always, I type a name for the block. Then, as the objects are selected, I don't need to select now. I click OK to pick the point, the base point. So the block is done. And then I need to place two doors in my elevation plan. I activate again the command copy. I select the door, pick the base point, choose this base point, then find this guideline and drag it up to find this intersection point. For the main door, if I zoom, I can see that there is no guideline here. I forgot to add one before, but no problem. I first need to unlock the guideline layer, and then I move one of the lines, this one, to the intersection there. It's where I will insert the door on the elevation. So finally, I just need to repeat the process as I did for the first window. Follow again the guideline and click on the intersection. In the next minutes, we will be using a bit more detailed drawing for making the bricks. These are just decoration elements, and the precision here is not very important. However, I will explain different functions of the commands that you already know. Let's zoom a bit here to the tiles at this side. Now I'm going to show to you how I can make them up to the roof quickly. We will use the command line, but just for this section. I click for the first point and type the distance of 0.4. Then vertically, it's 0.2 meters. Then to the right, it's the same distance. Then I'm going to use the command again and draw a line at 0.1 from the left corner. Let's do it again. I drag it, now turn to the right and type 0.1, and yes, now it works. Finally, just connect to this point. Let's see in detail what happened. As I hove this right point accidentally, I moved to the opposite one, and when dragging the cursor, the extension still counts from the right. That was the reason. Okay, then I'm going to copy these objects, but using the option Array at the command bar. We need to count the number of items, including the original, which is 7, and specify this corner as the second point. Okay, now it's done. Then, using the command copy again, place the objects where they belong. Go to my elevation plan and click in this point. Then the same group of objects, click there, and another one at the second floor, here. Okay, so now I just need to use the command trim to erase the parts that are not necessary here. Select everything, and now I click in the objects to delete. When I finish, I press escape and delete the objects that remain. Okay, after this part, I'm going to use a tool called Layer Walk. The name of the command is lay walk. Here, I have to select the layers that I want to show on the workspace. Choose only the layer tilts and click on close. And now, I want to select all the tiles. It's easier now. To then use the command group. I click with the right button, go to group and choose group. Now all the objects are grouped, as you can see. Then I click on this icon to turn all the layers on. To put all the tiles in the remaining areas, I can use the command mirror. Select the group, press enter, then choose this point as a mirror line, and then the tiles are at this side. Use the command copy to put this group at the left corner. Then there is one remaining at this side. It's better if I draw a line here to then use the mirror line. Select the group that I just put on the drawing and then put it at this side. Finally, as I have to adjust some tilts, I need first to ungroup, and then these ones, as they are separate objects, I can delete them, and then I do the same for the small ones at this side. I can also remove the overlapped objects like this line. Next thing, there is a brick pattern that I created in this drawing. This one. Let's make it. These are the dimensions. However, they are not that important, as these bricks here are actually just for decoration. So let's draw a rectangle using the 0.2 and 0.1 for the lengths. Then I copy it, use the endpoint, and put it on the endpoint at the other side. Then for the third brick, I'm going to use the mode nearest. It will connect to the object that I am snapping. Now, these small lines I used here, I draw them with the command spline, for example. That basically makes lines with curves. I click in the points where I want a curve to pass, and to confirm the spline, press Enter. If you press Escape, that cancels the command and you have to draw it again. You can keep drawing lines as you like, and in this part of the exercise, you don't have to follow what I'm doing. Just do whatever you want. You can use splines, lines, whatever. Then, after creating this pattern, you can copy it to the remaining bricks. I select all these objects and then choose this base point and copy it to the same corner of the other bricks. Then I want to change this to the layer 0 for then creating a block. I click on Create a Block, I choose a name of, for example, bricks. Then, as the objects are selected, I just need to click for the base point. Then I finished. I can deactivate the mode nearest as I don't need it anymore. And finally, I can place these bricks in the elevation plan. For example, I can place one more or less here. And then I'm going to copy it, and with the polar mode turned on, I place it in the same horizontal line, like this. Then I can copy all of them to the first floor. Okay, back to the entrance door. There were still these lines to draw. First, I go to the floor plan. First, I unlock the guidelines, and then with the command move, I move this grid line to this position, where dot frame will be drawn. Then I copy this object to the opposite side. After this, I can easily start drawing. I'm going to draw a line in this point with a length of 2.3 meters. Then I press Escape, and I'm going to copy it with the command mirror. I select it, and then the reflection line, I put it in the middle of the door width. Then let's unlock the guidelines again. And for the arc, I know that this part is located at 0.15 meters from the top of the door. So for that, I will draw first a line with that distance. Press Escape, and then I can draw an arc with 3 points. I just need to connect the 3 of them. It's very simple. Okay, then for the other border of the frame, I can use the command offset, but first I join the lines with the command join. Press Enter. As this is a polyline, I can now use the command offset, and it draws a parallel object separated in 15 centimeters from the original one. Oh, it looks like this elevation is never finished. But we are almost, don't worry. These windows, let's look where they are located. Actually, they are reflected with an imaginary vertical line from the midpoint of the door, and they are located at this distance from there. To put the windows there quickly, I'm going to draw that support vertical line. Then with the command copy, I copy this window, I select the base point on this corner, and then I start with the second floor, I hover this point, drag to the right and type the distance of 0.35. However, look what happens if I try to copy the window below. As this intersection is in line with my base point, when I insert a value, it actually counts from the beginning, and the window is not placed as expected. So the best is to copy the window from above and then use now the intersection, and that will work fine. Now, I think you can guess the command mirror will copy this in one step. So I can erase the line. Finally, the only thing remaining in this elevation are the chimneys. First, have a look to the dimensions and the upper part in detail. Start measuring the distances from this corner. This is where I need to place the start point of the chimney. I draw a horizontal line at 1.9 meters from the top of the walls, and its length is 0.27. Then I'm going to draw the rectangle and its dimensions are going to be minus 0.6 in the negative direction of the x-axis, the y-axis 1.6. For the detail, I'm going to draw lines here following the dimensions that I can see on the PDF file. This one is 0.03, then 0.02, 0.03, then again 0.03. So basically I draw in one side. For them, use the command mirror. I select all these objects, press enter, and put it on the other side in this way. Then I just connect with the command line those intersections. For the top of the chimney, I can make a rectangle here with the distance of 0.13 from the right end. Then the length and the width will be minus 0.15, press tab, and then 0.3. Right after, with the command line, I draw the remaining objects. Now, instead of drawing them on the other side, I use the command mirror. Select the middle of the chimney. And then I just need another line to connect those points. There is another of this part at the other side, so I use the command mirror again. And this line that I don't need anymore, I can delete. Here you have a chimney on this elevation. And to finish, use the command trim to erase that segment of line. Finally, I need to copy the chimney to this roof at the right side. and it's located at 0.1 meters from the top. So with the command copy, I'm going to select all the objects, press enter, I choose this base point, then I move to the other side, and I can click first in the intersection, and then with move I put it at a distance of 0.1, and then just trim the lines that are hidden. These ones, and also those two segments inside. Okay, as you can see, the elevation of this care home is finally completed. So, thank you very much for watching this tutorial. I hope that this was useful for you and that you have motivation to keep practicing AutoCAD exercises. They are very important. Subscribe to CAD in Black to check my playlists with full tutorials and exercises for beginners. It's all for now. I hope to see you again next time.